go ahead and call our council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Griffin. Councilperson Suggs.
Here.
Councilperson Hopkins.
Here.
Councilperson McCarley.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Here.
Mayor Bradley.
Here. Our invitation, Councilperson Hopkins.
All right, let's pray. Father, we come to you tonight, and Father, we praise you and we worship your goodness. As we enter Holy Week, Father, I pray that lives will be changed and made new. We celebrate the newness of life through the resurrection this week, and I pray, Father, that you would help us to walk in that newness, and I pray that you would help us as a community to be safe and to be led by your Spirit and by your wisdom. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, on our agenda tonight is the approval of work session minutes and regular meetings of 3/11/24.
I make a motion that we approve, accept the minutes as written from 3/11/24.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs.
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins.
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes. Next is our water heater estimates.
Make a motion, we accept the estimate from Joe Ambrose for $2,684.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs.
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins.
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes. Next is our back to school sales tax holiday, July the 19th through the 21st, 2024. Anyone like to make any motion?
I think, Mayor, we just had the option of opting out, and we chose to just continue as we always have and participate.
Okay, thank you. Next is our AMIC proxy. We have two that's going, or one's going definitely, and one, two possibly.
1.5.
Would would someone like make the motion that we had, make, Danny McCarley our proxy?
I make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs.
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins.
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes.
I did last time with 100.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mayor. I would like to suspend the rules, and I'd like to make suspend the rules to make the motion for an application for the grant application for the expansion on our exit to take us to Highway 11 for the planning grant.
I second that.
Do I hear a second?
I got it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs.
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins.
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes.
And now I'd like to make that motion. This is a 20% match. The grant is for $100,000, and this is for a planning grant. And what this does is it's for the extending the exit on our Argo exit all the way to Highway 11.
That was a motion.
That's a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, it was.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs.
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins.
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes.
Right. I'd also like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Just suspended the rules. Now you got to vote on the motion.
Well, we just did.
Well, we've got to suspend the rules for each one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rule for another item to add to the item, and this is for our city clerk has resigned, so we will, I'd like to suspend the rules to add a dollar an hour for Tabitha, our employee, and $2 an hour for Casey during this temporary period. So our motion is to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes.
And now I'd like to make a motion for temporarily to give Tabitha a raise for $1 an hour up until the hire date of the new city clerk and to 3 months after the hire, and then also $2 an hour for Casey during the same period of time.
So who's second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes.
Okay, I've got one more motion for a suspension, and this one is for the $1,500 for the mayor's breakfast, to allow the mayor to have a budget of $1,500 up to, for the mayor's breakfast.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
I'll abstain.
And now I'd like to make that motion to allow the mayor, out of the general fund for, not to exceed $1,500 for the expenses for the mayor's breakfast in May.
Second.
Roll call. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Bradley.
I'll abstain. We got one more to account. Mayor Pro Tem Brown to the zoning board. To the zoning commission.
No.
Gotta suspend the rules.
I'd make a motion to suspend the rules to name a replacement to the zoning board.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Councilperson Suggs,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Should I abstain?
You want to suspend the rules, you got versus.
Oh, yes.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes.
Now. she's-
Now I'll make a motion
Now she'll
to
abstain.
nominate, Mayor Pro Tem Ann Brown to fill the council seat on the zoning board.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Suggs,
Yes.
Councilperson Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilperson McCarley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Should I abstain? Abstain.
Mayor Bradley.
Yes.
I voted for myself when I ran for office.
That's your bad.
All right.
Is there anything else?
A little lapse of judgment.
I got on my notes, Mayor.
Okay, I don't have anything else other than, reminding everyone that, the zoning, meeting has changed to April the 11th from the 4th due to the clerks being out of, the office for training. And also letting everyone know that City Hall will be closed that day. Reminder, also need to remind the council, if you have not done your ethics report, that is due by April the 30th. So we need to make sure that everyone has that done.
I know, I just can't do it on the laptop. I mean, on my laptop this year.
They're gonna be closed April 4th.
April the 4th, That's the day they have to go for magistrate training.
I can't do it.
Remind everyone that the, ALM convention is May the 15th through the 18th. Oh, and I did wanna mention that I am, looking around for, and trying to get some more quotes on our city insurance. Haven't gotten anything or anything, but I am kinda shopping around to see what we can get, since it keeps getting higher and higher.
Mayor, we have new insurance in Spring Bluff, we have that contact.
Oh, that'd be great. You wanna send it to me?
Yes.
Send it by email to me.
I've got another one. I think
Yeah.
it's the same one.
It
Trust me.
probably-
It's the same one, trust me.
We have a part-time police officer that works that, I don't have anything else. Does any of the council have anything?
I have one thing, I've just been sitting here making a list of the roads that I have not ridden. Scott is going to make a copy of those roads for me, so that everybody can have a copy of the roads they have not looked at. If any of these roads are screenshot that to each other, so that we won't be all looking at the same roads, because I would like for us to be finished with this by the next meeting if we could.
I'm okay with just you taking that list and just marking, putting our names beside a stack of them and
Well,
just assign it to us. if you
that would
want.
be the easiest thing for me, but the roads that are closest to where y'all live, of course, there's not, I've probably already looked at the ones closest to where you live, because that's close to where I live.
And they're rough.
But there's not that many left. Betty and I have ridden, a lot, and we've got some serious conversations to have about road repairs. I also, I called Eagle Paving today, because I saw them advertise on TV. They don't do municipality, but he gave me a list of about 6 or 7 people to call. So I looked up those companies' phone numbers today. So once we do get our list together, maybe we'll have options on seeing who could get to us.
I have the one too, another I can recommend.
Okay. And I apologize for my left hand scratch, but this will help us to, everybody to get a look at. I went up some roads today I didn't know existed.
Did you?
So you want us, you recommend us looking up and trying to look at the ones closest to us, correct?
You know, what I have done is just GPS, I just GPSed a particular road, and it took me to it. Because a lot of these I'm not familiar with. But if there's some that you can put your name by, then screenshot your list and send it to everybody, so that we won't be looking at the same roads. That was my fault anyway, because this is just everybody needs to have an idea of what we're talking about when we actually get down to eliminating which roads. And if you see something that Nick could handle, like a pothole or some, just cutting back on the side of the roads or something, make note of that too, so that, the mayor can forward that.
And if you will, just go on the city website, and there's forms on there you can fill out, and just fill out a form, or just jot down on that form what road that Nick could go out then, and then that way he can come back and report to us once he's been out there as to what he's taken, what action he's taken on that road. And then that way we can keep a record of what roads he's been on and what roads he hasn't been on.
Okay, the list that you and I compiled, did you forward that to him, or do I need to?
You haven't sent it to me yet.
Oh, jeez, okay.
You couldn't find your stuff, remember?
Well, I found that, but I found this notebook. Okay, I will recheck that.
If you send that to me, I'll have that list also.
Okay.
Our road guy went out to Rowan and fixed that one hole that we talked about.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very good.
Yeah,
He's
I saw
doing a
that.
good job on what he's
I
doing.
noticed that today, and going down Mary Ann Lane, today, the company that we had to fix those pipes is first class. It looks fantastic. He put concrete.
I had seen some of his work that he has done, and that's the reason I suggested we use them, because everything I had seen that he had done.
I think anything that we need to have done that his company can do, we definitely need to, consider him, because that was probably one of the best jobs that we've had done. Does he?
Yeah, and you know who he is. Him and his wife, helped in the food bank a couple of times, and also brought donations and
That's
everything.
good.
Oh, okay. Well, he sure did a fantastic job. I was real impressed, so,
He does great work.
yeah. We've got a couple of places that are creating issues on the road that I took pictures of today that I think we can just, there's a concrete pipe that's almost full, and the ditch is just a gully where the leaves have washed. So there's several places like that I think if we fix the ditch, it'll help. Once we repair the road, it'll help.
Just clean it out.
So be aware of those kinds of things around, not just just the road, but around.
And if you, if you just jot down, you don't have to fill out every little place in the application, but if you just jot down on one application, the roads and what needs to be done, and then we can, when he goes out there and looks at those roads, he can come back and report as to what action he has taken on that road, or if he can do it, or if it needs somebody to go out and do something with it. And that way we can keep up what roads we're fixing and what roads, he's done.
If you look at on the list that the mayor sent us, the partial roads, I didn't put those on your list. These are just the solid roads there, because I had a few questions myself as I've ridden these roads. For instance, when it says Allison Lane, 249, 215, and 175 only, does that mean that we only are responsible for the road in front of these three houses?
I thought that just those houses were on in the city, but the street wasn't necessarily a street.
This is the list I was given when I came in office.
This is Allison Lane.
So I can't explain how they came up with these lists, this is what's been on file here at City Hall, so I can't explain to you how.
I mean, the road.
I know that the police officers only go, and the fire department only goes, so far,
Yeah, I mean, Allison Lane would be within our police and fire jurisdiction.
Mhm.
So how can the city only be responsible for the road in front of three people's houses, is what I understand.
Yeah, but we have other streets where we have a lot of houses are in the city, but it's still not a city street. So I'm guessing that's not a city street.
Would it help to try to verify some of this with the county?
Alan, that's what Alan and them have been trying to do, is that they were talking to them. Alan, could you give us an answer with that? Do you happen to know anything about it?
I would need another question.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Okay, so I'm.
In riding
the roads, one particular is Allison Lane, which I think is off of Blackjack Road. Okay, so it says 249, 250.
Allison Lane's off Old Springwood.
It's off Old Spring.
Oh, okay,
How many houses, there's not more than 5 houses on that road.
well,
Three of them are in the city.
it says Allison Lane, 249, 215, and 175 only.
Is that where the,
It probably where it ends at, it probably got the other houses are on that further.
That's off Bagley.
Is that what she said, is that what, is
No,
that?
he asked a separate question. What's your question
I
about
don't
Allison
think
Lane
Bagley,
and the three houses?
Allison Lane, we have 3 addresses that it says that the city's responsible for the road. But the addresses doesn't appear to be consistent. It's 175, 215, and 249. So my question is, are we responsible for all of Allison Lane? Or just those 3 houses in the city limits?
Or none.
Or none? I haven't driven that road yet. That might be the only 3 houses on that road. I don't.
No, there's several.
Maybe that this list was made before those other houses got added, and it just stopped off at those first 3 houses and did not include the rest of them other houses that was. I haven't been out that road, so I can't tell you, but that's what I'm assuming.
And then my other question was, Weems Road, it says 112 and 127.
Because most of that's in the city limits of Trustmark.
But when you turn off of Highway 11 onto Weems Road,
No, Wheaton Road's ours, isn't it?
We only have a short section of Weems Road that, connects to Wilkie. From Wilkie to the first curve, past that first curve, because whoever's building that new house on that corner property, Steve's been dealing with them. And past that, it's unincorporated Jefferson County.
okay. All right, so would it be safe for us to put together a list and then pass our list to you guys, so that when you guys are out riding, if we've got something on our list that you know isn't in the city or belong to the city, could y'all help us out there in putting together a true list?
You could confirm every house through the ArcGIS, where it's already in the county mapping.
But is that gonna help us confirm the roads?
No, probably won't do anything to help with the roads, but that's paperwork that should be somewhere in this building, showing not ours, or our responsibility.
That's the only list I have found. We went up the upstairs and went through everything, we have not found,
We both work jurisdictionally, as in, it doesn't matter whether it's a city street or not, we're gonna go to the houses.
Sure.
So, and even if the houses aren't in Argo, we respond.
So I've asked you a question that there's no way you can know the answer to.
Not
Basically.
specifically about the roads.
Yeah.
Now, I know if you look at the ArcGIS map and you zoom in and actually click on the road itself, most roads will be county, it'll say Argo, and then some of them appear as driveways.
Okay.
Like, if it's a private drive that was never taken in officially, but like Farmland Road, just as an example, because I was out there today.
Me too.
If we took in that road, we should have been deeded that as a city, that property then would.
it was, that was, Farm Lake Road was, I think I saw something.
Well, that's the kind of paperwork we need, and that's what we need to go through and have specifics to say,
Some of them,
yes.
some of those, we do have some for some of the roads, and some of them we don't.
Well, then we need to get it. If we're gonna be responsible for it, then the city
If we
should
don't
take
have the
possession.
paperwork on it, then nobody can prove that it's ours or not ours.
Well, there is state law that basically says if the city, municipality is taking over maintenance of a road, it is presumed to be a public street at that point. So if you take on maintenance responsibilities, and it's sort of the, old rule of, if you take responsibility for it, it's yours. We have, and it's not an uncommon occurrence for there not to be something for a public road or public street, because a lot of these streets have been around for decades, and there was never a deed conveying that property at some point, like through a subdivision process. In this instance, if the city has done paving work on there in the past, then typically it's presumed to be a right of way, a public right of way.
Okay, so if, okay.
A lot of these roads have been added since the city was formed and everything, and they never came before the city to get, council's approval to be taken in. They just assuming that it's our road that we're responsible for.
And I will also say that while it is presumed to be a public right of way, if it was constructed, the city does not have to take over maintenance obligations until such time as that street, say in a subdivision, has been brought up to whatever street requirements are. Okay.
And we have a lot of streets that out here too that have been brought in that never was built up to the city standards or anything. They just accepted them as they were, like Farm Lake Road, for instance. They just accepted those roads without them being brought up to city codes. So now the city is responsible for making sure that they're paid.
Okay, so that brings up another thought. If Farm Lake Road was brought in as a city road, but it doesn't meet our standards, is the city liable to bring that up to our standards? If there's,
No, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, if the city at some point, if the council of the city at some point accepted that street, then yes, I would probably say the burden lies on the city. The maintenance burden is on the city to keep it,
to maintain it at the state it's in now, or to bring it up to city code?
No, just to maintain it as it is now. It's within the discretion of the city to determine what level of maintenance they will do on the street.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, I would say then, with what I've observed so far, we got a lot of work to be done.
We do.
So. from
With
what
little
I'm-
money
But
to
from
do
what
it
I'm
with.
hearing, we need to verify that these are indeed our roads before we go and do anything to any road, because once we do something to any road, it's ours whether it was
Right.
previously or not.
Right.
There doesn't seem to be a way to verify.
So,
Could we go to courthouse and they should be able to tell us, right, the mapping office, they should.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I can tell you, some cities and some counties just apply like a blanket rule, such as if the street is not paved, then it's not our street, it's not a public street, or something of that nature. But if there has been maintenance activities on that street in the past by the city, then I would say you would probably have to default to the fact that it is an actual city street.
It's like Corky did it on the side, and I was before the city.
And that's the reason I have to ask Nick to be very cautious as to what roads he repairs and goes on, because that's something that if he goes out there and repairs a road, then it becomes our road.
That's correct.
what would be the safest and fastest avenue for us to take to determine what are our city roads?
I I would say that it's probably to get with the county engineer and allow the county through process of elimination to inform you whether or not, number one, it's a county. It's a
And
county.
good luck with that.
Well, we know what's the county's.
Right. After that, then it becomes more of a, road determination based on number one, what the city has in terms of documents and its records for that road. And number two, if there's any history whatsoever of any city maintenance on that road. Okay, if you don't have either of those two, then at that point, it really just becomes up to the discretion of the council as to what they want to do at that point, whether they wish to take on the maintenance responsibilities for that street.
Wow. Well, I would
That's why it's
say,
so hard to determine which
I
road.
would say to myself, the work that I have done, I feel like I need to go back and readdress some of these areas because they may not be our streets, even though they're on our list.
Well, you can usually look at some of them roads and tell if there's been a lot, any maintenance done and that kind of stuff. Like, for instance, the road we rode over off of, you know good and well there was no maintenance ever done on that road because there's no, there's no kind of tar, there's no kind of patching, there's nothing on there.
One of the concerns I have is if we, but I think we know that the roads that we do know that are ours, we have a lot more work and we got money. So we
That's
can at
right.
least start on that.
Let's start on
But
that.
but I do have to, here's my concern like you, is if we start working through this and we don't have a systematic approach that's fair, then people could come and say, my road's much worse and was a smaller project. I just think we need to figure out, and I think planning and zoning could possibly help us with this too, figure out what is a fair, just, systematic approach that is transparent. Because I don't, if we, because if you pick one road and it's not a fair process there, so I just think that's where we need to.
Okay, that leads my thought process to this way, Scott, if I could ask you a question. Are there any roads that the police department or Allen, the fire department service that are unpassable to y'all?
Michael,
What road?
Michael,
Could y'all give us a list of those so that we can clarify who they're?
Michael Road, is that what you said?
Michael Drive,
Michael
White.
Drive?
White,
Isn't that the one the city, the trust will just pay part way or something?
they paid, Rocky Ridge.
Okay, right, okay.
Michael,
Right.
Michael Drive and Michael Drive is not one of our streets. Or it's highlighted
It'll be
in
one of
yellow.
those things that's it's just.
Where
got
is
street
Michael?
sign.
I'm not, I can't.
Off of Rocky Ridge.
Is it off of Rocky Ridge?
It is.
Rocky Ridge, yeah.
Rocky Ridge, first level.
Now, is that a street or is that like we were talking about, is that a sign they put up that's somebody's driveway that we just assume a street because it's got a street sign?
Well,
But
there's
we,
a lot,
but it has a mailing address of Michael.
I saw a lot of streets that was a driveway.
That's what I'm saying, man, that's,
I don't think Michael's ours.
Michael is not ours, but we need to know where our departments
but
have.
what we do though in that case is the police will come down and we'll throw our bags in their tow car and we'll ride up to the call. That's what we do for medical calls.
Okay, so with your truck, could you get there?
It'd be tough. We would probably have to pull it off with that small truck, we could do it, but it would not be good.
So what vehicle can you use of the police departments and get there?
Any of the patrol cars can.
Any of the patrol cars could, but your pickup truck couldn't?
Now, if they take the pickup truck, then they will, if they're out and about,
If you,
you can't pass by.
he's talking about a big truck or a pump truck,
That's what I'm talking
like
about.
the F-150, the Ram, the other F-150s, the all-wheel drive Explorers, they can make it.
Okay.
But a lot of these roads, like you're talking about, I'll stop, if I'm out and about, they'll all jump in with me, throw their gear in the back, I'll take them like Black Drive,
Okay.
off Roll Lane.
Is that road right before Bill Smith Road?
Yeah, 'cause it's got a sign, but it's not a road, right?
No.
Why?
Looks like they're trying to
Why?
connect it to Rocky Ridge, but it doesn't.
Who knows?
People live on it, we respond to it, I don't know if it's a road or not, stick trail, whatever you wanna call it. But getting to the top of that thing is rough.
All right, so tell me about Sweet Gum.
What's wrong with Sweet Gum? Which one?
Yeah.
The one that's just dirt and
Which one?
What's it all?
One's kind of paved, one's not paved. Okay, so the one that's not paved at all is off Freeze Mountain.
Okay, that's the one I went on.
Okay.
It's never seen anything, not even a grade. It looks like my husband's hunting club. Like red dirt with big dips.
It was my understanding that wasn't our road.
That's
I
not.
think he just built a road for his house back in.
See that? No, the Sweet Gum that I went down, there's like 13 houses down.
Trailers,
No,
Trailers.
But there's never been any pavement or nothing.
There's never been, there's no asphalt, it's just dirt.
And the point is that because there are limited resources to pave these streets, if nothing has ever been done by the city on a road like that, typically, you want to save it for where there has been prior maintenance activity.
I have shifted from that to what our officers and our firemen, our medics, what they have to go down to get to residents.
But if that road doesn't belong to the city, we can't legally do any work on it. Unless we wanna take that road in.
Write down, I can write down yes and no for you, you know, if you want to do that. Makes it a little
We're gonna have more problems with people's driveways than we are in the roads, not roads, whatever we're calling them.
Right,
I mean,
yeah, I can relate, I
A
understand.
lot of
that.
people didn't do what they should have done when they built or put something in there because they never did the proper pipes under the roads, they never, get the water away from there.
Okay, we've got a Sweet Gum Drive that's dirt. We've got a Sweet Gum Lane that's bad, but there's not that many properties on there. There's not that many residents on there, according to my notes.
correct.
Oh my goodness, this is a challenging job. An easier way or a way to find out?
I will say that going forward, this doesn't fix the issues that are already currently existing, but the new subdivision regulations are supposed to account for this and help this from occurring in the future.
We can't do nothing about what's there except try to fix the roads that we got, that
I'm
are
not talking
on.
about subdivisions.
I understand, but the subdivision regulations are going to control when anyone so much as tries to put in something in the future. Maybe not in a residential subdivision, but let's just say they're wanting to construct a 2-mile long driveway and then try to claim it's a public road. Well, they can claim it's a public road and dedicate it to public use, but the city will not have any obligations to upkeep that unless they bring it up to the requirements of the new subdivision.
Right.
And that will help
These
eliminate.
roads, individual roads will not be covered under subdivision
That
regulations.
is correct.
So, thank God, because this is a handful. Just trying to decide which ones are the worst and which ones are the most traveled. So the worst, most traveled, in my mind, is our priority right now.
If it's in the city, but if it's not the city's road, you can't do that.
Right, and that's what we're trying to decide.
Okay, yeah.
From this list, how do we deter what is
Well,
in the city?
I've just heard what he said, he said
Yeah.
that wasn't a city road.
Yeah,
So,
but
you
from the
can't
list
spend your
that we
budget there,
have.
cause I'd be complaining if I
Because a
had
lot of
that
people come
road.
out here and built off of city roads, and then they assume that just because they're off of a city road, that we have taken that road in also. We got the way it goes.
Dealt with that right down by the railroad tracks several years ago. Okay, so let me back up to what we've talked about everybody doing then. Then I would say from our list, we also need to denote how many houses, how many residents are on each road, and how bad they are. That would help us prioritize.
I would go ahead and say as to eliminate the ones in which it is simply dirt and shows no
Oh, yeah.
evidence of
Yeah.
any city maintenance activity in the past.
I've only seen one
Okay.
so far.
What if we graded them, just give us an idea of like the worst ones, that would at least have some kind of system.
That was my first thought, that's why I drew the lines, but then when you get out there, it's, try to do that, that would be, if you can pull that off, that would be great. I got too confused to do that. But if you can do that, that would be great. How many houses are on the road, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad are they? And a lot of what I have found is we have a stretch of passable road, but there's so many potholes that I feel like we need to pave a section of patch
And that's another issue we're gonna have too, is finding somebody that's gonna do that, because it's hard to find a paving company unless you're gonna spend thousands and thousands of dollars on paving.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for them to load and unload their equipment and hop around. I haven't talked to Trey yet, Massey either, but,
And let's not forget, get above 100,000, then we're under Public Works Act.
Right, it has to be bid. You can't just call and say, I'm gonna let this person do it, because it has to be bid out if it comes over there.
well, but I also feel like in order to get a company to come out and bid it, we're gonna have to be at that amount over.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna be able to pave any of these roads we get out here for less than 100.
Yeah.
I mean, every one of it's gonna be at least that.
It's
So,
gonna-
there's no way that, it's gonna have to be bid out any way we go.
Would it make sense to maybe, retain, engineer to come out here?
And that's what we've been taught, that's what, we've got to have an engineer for the subdivision regulations and for the, our building inspector, and that's another question in itself. Who is a good engineer to maybe put on retainer or to have as needed basis?
I could recommend probably several that I could.
Because we need to really talk to somebody for zoning purposes and that thing, to have an engineer for the city, but only have them as needed basis, because we're not doing as much.
I would love to turn this responsibility over to somebody that knows more than I do.
Yeah, it's not really a traffic engineering thing so much as the civil engineering, aspect of it. So let me do this, Mayor, if possible, let me get a list of, potential candidates for you.
Okay.
And I can submit it to you, you can sit down with me, because I know. That is exactly what Trust was just done, is they have just hired an engineering firm on a contract basis, that whenever there's a need for it, they call them up, they finish the task, that's put in front of them, and they're simply billed for the time.
Well, that would be fantastic.
That's that was gonna be at our next meeting anyway, is to hire one. We're waiting to see what's going, our subdivision regulations, and then that was gonna be our next thing, is to hire an engineer to just be on retainer as needed, for work that we're
I thought
gonna
it would
be.
be harder to find one that would do that.
Okay, is there anything else, Ann?
I hope not. I'm sorry.
Danny, you have anything?
Nothing except to adjourn, so what do you?
Tommy? Reed, anything?
Oh, just adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. You didn't have anything.